2020 to order. And as it's impractical to hold an in-person council meeting and or AANPO meeting due to the governor of Iowa declaring a public health emergency because of the COVID-19 pandemic, therefore limits have been placed on public gatherings. Therefore, this meeting is being held as an electronic meeting as allowed by section 21.8 of the Iowa Code. All right, John, do you have anything that you want to explain or add to the items that were contained in the packet?
Thank you. All 5 of the MPO items are standard, typical business items. All 5 have been reviewed and unanimously recommended for approval by the Tech Committee, and the transit items have been.
Diane, we have an echo too.
I apologize. I was sitting back at the presentation table. So all 5 of these.
That's helpful.
Right. Yes.
Very good.
All 5 of these MPO items are standard business type items. All 5 have been reviewed and unanimously recommended for approval by the Tech Committee, and the transit items have been reviewed and approved by the Transit Board.
Okay. Does the AANPO have any questions on any of those 5 items for Mr. Joyner? All right, I've been informed that we can take a motion and approve all 5 in one motion. So is there a motion to approve items 1? Is that Juan?
That was Juan, yes.
All right, is there a second from somebody other than Juan?
Second from Gloria.
All right, Gloria seconds. Ames City Council seconds it. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Hearing none. Motion declared to have carried unanimously. Moving on to policy committee comments. Anything from the Ames City Council? Ames Transit? Gilbert?
Not tonight.
Any of the school districts? All right, John, anything from the school districts? All right, hearing none. Thank you everyone for your indulgence and standard protocol and encouragement. Please stay healthy, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move. Dozino.
Dozino moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Brown seconded. Thank you. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Stay safe, everybody. Bye-bye.
You too.
The Ames City Council meeting for March 24th, 2020. And I'll again read a statement saying it's impractical to hold an in-person council meeting due to the governor of Iowa declaring a public health emergency because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, limits have been placed on public gatherings. Therefore, this meeting is being held as an electronic meeting as allowed by Section 21.8 of the Iowa Code. All right, moving on, we'll go ahead and start with consent agenda. Council, anyone have a desire to pull any items from consent?
Nope.
Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve consent. And then also please state your name. Gloria
Second.
moved. Who's second?
I'll second. Bronwyn.
Okay, so when we, just as protocol, when someone moves or second, would you please announce your name before you do it or after you do it, please? All right, moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Betcher,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and move on to public forum. This is a time we set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than items that are on the agenda. And has anyone emailed a statement to the clerk or called in and is on the phone that wants to make comments they'd like to have read or make under public forum this evening?
Yes, Mayor, this is Steve. Received an email from Jan Flora. I'll read it for you if that's okay. Dear Council, I think it is important to continue to have city council meetings. The need for general quarantine may last 3 or 4 months or longer if we do not get the needed leadership at the national level. Therefore, I think the council should meet electronically at regular times. I would not suppress the citizen comment period. Perhaps the commissions could meet more on an as-needed basis. If there is an important issue, it should be addressed. I plan to tune into Channel 12 tonight when I am free at 7 p.m. Please take care of yourselves. A doctor from the University of Pennsylvania said in an op-ed in the New York Times today, the decisions implemented in the next couple of weeks are critical in terms of whether we have, say, 100,000 deaths in the United States or over 2 million. Sobering indeed. We very much appreciate your work on behalf of the citizens of Ames. That's Jan Flora. Let me just check to make sure I've got people situated on the phones, and I don't see anything. Right now, I don't think there's any other public forum comments.
Okay.
Were you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
And all the scraping that you're doing right now, too.
Well, that's Susan.
Okay. Oh, okay, Susan. All right. I will, once again, is there anyone else that wishes to make a comment? Hearing none,
That's Susan.
we will close public forum and we'll move on to item number 16 under hearings. Thank you.
Tim has a comment.
Tim, all right.
I'll be fine.
All right.
Hello, Council. This is Kelly Diekman, Planning and Housing Director. Can everyone hear me while I'm also showing exhibits on the screen for the telecast?
I can hear you loud and clear, Kelly. Thank you.
Okay. So,
Can you tell us what exhibits you're going to show?
yep, there are going to be 3 exhibits from the staff report, just so everyone's aware of what we're looking at. So we're doing a major site development plan, which is a public hearing for the approval of the MetroNet basic utility use at 901 North 4th Street. What is up on the screen at this time is the zoning map showing you the location of the project, which is on North 4th Street. It's a commercially zoned property and it butts up against the railroad just south of Wheatsfield property on the north side. The next diagram I'm putting up is the site plan. Again, this was in your packet. What we wanted to highlight is that the applicant is proposing to meet code with pave access to the site. They are planning for 2 possible shelters or huts. First phase would be to construct one and then have the ability to construct a second one in the future as needed. There would also be approximately a 70-foot tower that would be located in the center of the site. That particular feature must go to the Zoning Board of Adjustment for approval as a wireless communications tower as well. If council approves this tonight, it will be before the Zoning Board of Adjustment tomorrow. The applicant has proposed to enclose the entire yard area with fences. We described that in the staff report about the heights of fences and setbacks to make the 7-foot security fencing work for them. The internal yard area will be all rocked. There will be front yard landscaping as required for commercial areas. And I am putting up the landscape plan on the screen right now to understand where the front yard landscaping is. The area outside of the fence would be grass, but within the fence, it would be all rock. So we have been able to determine that it would meet the criteria for approval as a major site development plan. It is compatible in this area within a commercial zone due to the nature of uses that are around it. There are a mix of other kind of light industrial and warehouse type uses and a neighbor of the railroad to the north. So we are recommending approval of the project. And if you have questions, I can answer them. The applicant is not present. If you have questions, I can reach out to them if necessary, if I can't answer them.
Okay.
We have not, to my knowledge, heard any public comment regarding this application up until this hearing right now.
This is a hearing?
Well, I know that
Okay.
we have one person that may want to address council under when the hearing is open. But first of all, council, do you have any questions for staff on this topic? Okay,
Mayor,
I'll
before you
declare
get,
the public hearing on.
before you get
Yeah.
into, just to warn the public, people could call in for their comments now for the public hearing. They could call in 239-5214, 239-5214, or they can email their comments right now during the hearing at citycouncilmeetinginput@cityofames.org. That's citycouncilmeetinginput@cityofames.org. So either way, 239-5214, we have somebody to take the call, we'll record it, and then read it off to you, the comments for the public hearings for this meeting.
Okay. All right, I'll declare the public hearing on the major site development plan for 901 North 4th Street to be open. So anybody that would like to address council, first of all, have we received anything in writing?
I don't believe so, not yet.
I have not,
Okay.
speaking with Ray earlier this
Okay.
afternoon, we had not heard anything from anyone.
If we can just give a few minutes
Okay.
or seconds or so for people to, if they want
Yep.
to now. We want to give them
We
time
were
to give the input.
anticipating hearing,
Excuse me.
yeah, we were anticipating hearing from Corey Hoyce.
Oh, you did receive that communication kind of separately about the remote parking. I can address that if you
And
like.
she was going she was going to call in.
Okay. Oh, I also sent a separate memo out to the council today, Kelly's memo, if you saw it.
So we did send out a memo this afternoon, an email responding to that request.
Did you see that, council?
Yes. Yes.
Kelly could go over that too, if that's the issue. Do you want to go over the primary issue of the site plan first and then get into?
While we're waiting to see if she calls in, why don't you go ahead and review them, what you'd like to review on that item?
Yeah, so per Corey's request, we dug into the files, and in 1992, the property just to the south of this site, which is Hoist Printing's main establishment, to move into that building, the city required a remote parking agreement that covers over 4 properties in this area, one of which is the site of this. The remote parking did not conflict with Metronet's plan, so we did not require it to be changed as part of the site plan review. However, as Corey has indicated, Metronet would like to have that obligation removed. Staff believes it could be removed by council action at a future agenda, on a future agenda. We need to dig a little more into the research, but we believe there's no reason that can't be removed from this property and kept on the other properties.
No word from Corey yet.
Nope, I don't believe we had. Corey did call? We have a comment? We do have one. Wait a minute. Support. You want to read it? Whatever she said.
She just said she was in support of the MetroNet tower.
Okay.
So the comment that we received from Corey was just to voice support for the proposal, including the tower, and to have it move forward or to be approved.
Okay.
So
Are there any other oral or written comments?
Susan, anything in email yet? Email, remember, is city council meeting input at cityofames.org or 239-5214. The hearing's going on live now, so it's a good time to call in if you have a comment. Okay, so Susan checking one more time. I don't believe there's any more phone calls. You want to wait 30 more seconds?
Let's wait one more minute.
Okay. I'll double check. I don't think we've got any more calls.
No more calls?
No.
All right, I will declare the public hearing on this item to be closed. I would entertain a motion on the resolution approving the major site development plan for 901 North 4th Street.
Move
there a
approval.
motion?
This is Gloria.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Amber.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Garten,
Abstain, conflict of interest.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item 17, rezoning of 207 South Tower Avenue from Agricultural A to Government Airport District S-GA.
All right. So,
Does council have any questions? Go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to introduce that up on the
Go ahead,
screen.
Kelly.
Up on the screen is just a location map of the city property. We are the applicant as the city, since we recently acquired this for the East Industrial Utility expansion, and we're recommending to rezone it to government to facilitate that project.
Is that attachment A, location map on the screen?
Attachment D, yeah. Well, it's the proposed zoning map. Yes. It shows both.
Gotcha. Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right, I'll declare the, once again, to the general public, those who want to call in, it's 239-5214, or you can email, and that email, Steve, would you repeat the email address again?
It's all one word, city council meeting input at cityofames.org.
Okay. I declare the public hearing on rezoning of 207 South Tower Avenue from Agricultural A to Government Airport District SGA to be open. Let's allow 3 minutes for anyone to call in or to email in.
Okay.
While we're waiting, I hope that the public understands that they could send email for items further down the agenda. To send an email regarding it. Is that correct, Mayor?
Yes, thank you, David. That's a very good. Just so long you make your annotate your email with the agenda item number, so we know what it pertains to.
Just like if they were here, we'd ask for the name and address.
Yes.
Is it city council input? City council input. City council meeting input. That's pretty.
Nothing?
Has anything come in so far?
No. Nothing?
I'm at 2 minutes. Let's just go ahead and say 2 minutes. And David, that's a very good recommendation. Anyone who wants to offer any input on further items, please start sending those in. Or you can call and get in the queue so we can get that taken care of. So, all right. I will declare the public hearing on this item to be closed. Entertain a motion on first passage of ordinance.
Move on first. Bronwyn, I would move.
Bronwyn moved. Is there a second?
Second, Amber.
Amber seconded. Roll call, please.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Garton.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item 18, public hearing on University Apartments electric service replacement.
We don't have any comments, unless you have a question.
Steve, is there anybody with staff there to talk about it or not?
Not if you have any questions, no.
Council, any questions for staff on this particular topic? Hearing none, declare the public hearing on University Apartments electric service replacement to be open. Have you received anything, any calls or anything in email up to now?
No.
Okay, I started my timer here. We'll give it 2 minutes.
Next time. Name and address too.
No numbers, no phones.
Okay. Declare the public hearing on this item to be closed. Entertain a motion on resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding contract to Jaspering Electric Incorporated of Ames, Iowa, in the amount of $245,000.
Move the resolution. This is Gloria.
Thank you.
Second, Rachel.
Do I have Rachel seconded. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Barton,
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 19. Boiler tube spray coating and related services and supply contract. Any questions for staff, council on this particular item?
We want to point out, we're asking you
Hearing none.
to accept the report of bids and delay the award, giving us more time to analyze the bids.
Okay. Any questions for them? Hearing none, declare the public hearing on boiler tube spray coating and related services and supply contract to be open. You will allow 1 minute for voice or written comment. Any written or phone calls on this one? Any input, Steve?
Not, on the item, excuse me, item 20? No, what are we on?
Number 19.
Sorry.
Any written or phone calls?
No.
All right. I declare the public hearing on boiler tube spray coating and related services and supply contract to be closed. Entertain a motion accepting report of bids and delaying the award.
So moved. This is Gloria.
Garten, second.
Thank you. Garten, second. Thank you. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 20. Unit 8 precipitator roof replacement. Any questions for staff?
You'll notice on this one, we did not receive bids, so there's no action to take other than maybe a motion to delay the project, implementation of the project while we work with our engineers to redesign the plans and specs.
Okay. I will declare the public hearing on Unit 8 precipitator roof replacement to be open. Have you received any comments from people on this so far?
Not yet.
No comments, is that right?
Correct.
All right, declare the public hearing on Unit 8 precipitator roof replacement to be closed. Entertain a motion accepting the report of no bids and delaying rebidding.
So moved. So moved. Second, Gloria.
Amber moved, Gloria seconded. Thank you. Those in favor say aye.
21.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 21, hearing on East Highway 30 Force Main improvements. Any questions from staff or any staff comments? Hearing none, declare the public hearing on East Highway 30 Force Main improvements to be open. We'll allow 1 minute for public input to be received.
sent me. Thank you. There it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Any comments received either by phone or by email?
No.
Declare the public hearing on East Highway 30 force main improvements to be closed. I would entertain a motion approving final plans, specifications, awarding contract to Synergy Contracting LLC of Bondurant, Iowa, in the amount of $234,655.
Move the resolution. So moved.
All right, I think it was
Second,
Amber. Did you
Gloria.
move? Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Martin?
Aye.
Beatty Hansen?
Aye.
Betcher?
Aye.
Garten?
Aye.
Junk?
Aye.
Corriere?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. On to item 22, which is the asphalt street pavement improvements on 14th and 15th Street. Council, I think that you're aware of all the conversation and emails been going on back and forth regarding this particular project and wanting to afford those residents who have opinions to offer. And we weren't sure how we're going to get that done tonight in a good way. I would like to have a motion to open the hearing, and then we're going to continue the hearing until May 12th,
17.
and then we will take it.
But
The bids are good till
Oh,
the
yeah.
17th, so the 12th will be within that time period.
okay.
Okay. So I declare the public hearing on the 2019-2020 asphalt street pavement improvements, 14th and 15th Street, to be open, and I'll entertain a motion to continue this hearing until May 12th.
So
So
moved,
moved,
Mayor.
Garten.
Garten moved.
Second,
Who
Gloria.
seconded?
Gloria.
Gloria seconded. Thank you. Those in favor say aye.
Wait, I just want to,
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Mayor, I
Entertain
did,
a motion approving, pardon me? Hello?
yeah, I just want to tell you, we did receive, there is one email. I don't know how you want to handle it if we didn't open the hearing. I don't know if you want one person, pardon me. No, do you want to allow, we did receive one email on the comment, so do you want me to read that or in this one instance and then still continue it? I can read it if you want.
All right, go ahead and read it, please. And then let's make sure that is cataloged and read also on May 12th as well.
Okay,
All right, go ahead.
so, I gotta put it up here. This is from Merlin Fancook. The question is, can the sidewalks be dropped from the project at this point? Why or why not? This has been handled by the city terribly poorly. And why should the neighborhood have to have the threat of sidewalks hanging over their heads for a month to 6 weeks? With COVID-19, no one knows at this point what the construction will be able to be, if this construction will be able to be done anyway this summer. At this point, I don't want workers 10 feet from my house. Merlin Fancook, 1424 Kellogg Avenue. P.S. How many are in the council chambers? I can count 6. Take care of yourselves and all of us.
Okay, thank you. entertain a motion accepting a report of bids and delaying award.
So moved. This is Gloria. Second, Rachel.
Rachel, second. Thank you. Those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed or abstaining? Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 23, hearing on 2019-2020 Collector Street pavement improvements, Bloomington Road, Grand Avenue to Hoover. Any questions for staff on this item? Any staff comments?
John?
No, thank you.
Declare the public hearing on 2019-2020 Collector Street pavement improvement project to be open. Allow 1 minute to receive written or telephoned in comments.
I don't hear the phone.
Any written or phoned in comments?
No.
I declare the public hearing on this item to be closed. Entertain a motion on resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding the contract to Manats Incorporated of Ames, Iowa, in the amount of $399,820.95.
This is Bronwyn. So moved. Second, Gloria.
Thank you. Gloria seconded. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Speedy Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin,
Thank you. Item 24, Campustown Public Improvements, Welch Avenue. Staff have any comments or things they want to talk about on this item?
Mayor, I just wanted to clarify that the alternate 2 that we're recommending along with the base bid, the text in the council action form might be a little confusing, but what that alternate 2 does is it replaces 3 standard tree grates. So that's pretty much like the grates that you see out there at Welch Avenue right now, replacing those with 3 tree trenches. So that alternate 2 would add in 3 tree trenches in lieu of 3 standard iron grates.
Can you explain what a tree trench is?
Yeah, that's a stormwater feature.
You put that on the,
Yeah. I'll put that on the overhead. Can you hear me okay from back here?
Yes.
So on the overhead now is a cross section of what the tree, all the components of a tree trench. So there'd be concrete walls behind the curb where the tree would set. There'll be porous material below that. There'll be porous material below that area to drain any excess water. There'll be intakes added out in front of each tree trench in the street to collect street water and direct it into the tree trench. And then the idea is that will provide a stormwater quality improvement.
Can you point what a grate would be like? You have the other bit.
Yeah, and then the grate,
Why it's less sophisticated.
the grate that we will not do in those 3 locations is shown on the overhead now, and that would be, if anyone can visualize the grates that are out on Welch Avenue right now, it'd be very similar to the grates that are there now. It's just a flat iron grate around the base of a tree. It's, I believe, about a 6x8 iron grate.
So what's the benefit of adding the cost to these 3?
So this would not have any, if you just went with the standard tree grates, they would not have any stormwater benefit. By adding the tree trenches, we'll be collecting stormwater off of the street and then routing those through those tree trenches and providing stormwater quality improvements.
John, can you go back to the other image, please?
It's up now.
Okay, thank you. So can you explain how that works? Is the water coming into that storm grate on the right-hand side of the image and then draining into the tree grate? How's that work?
Right. Yeah. So the stormwater would be collected by the intakes that are adjoining each one of the tree trenches, and that stormwater would then be directed into the tree box, the tree trench, and that would water the roots. And there's also some native type plantings on top, and it would water those as well. So it'd be kind of a safe, self-sustaining watering system for the trees. And then any excess water, if we're in a very heavy rain situation, would then be collected through subdrain and through the porous rock and then directed back into the stormwater system.
Can I ask,
John,
does that affect what you can use on the street in terms of salt versus, what we would normally use on that street, and then versus what the plants can handle if they're getting storm water sort of directly off of the asphalt?
Right, that's a good question. I don't know the exact species off the top of my head, but these species will be selected for their hardiness in this type of an environment.
Okay.
John, this
Gloria,
is
do you have a question?
Gloria. Yes, I'm wondering, is this going to help us to reduce that horrible ponding that occurs at the base of Welch Avenue with these rainstorms that we've been getting, or is that going to be addressed through the reconstruction of the street?
I would say both of those would be features to help with that situation. These will allow a great deal of storage as well as quality improvements. And also then the redesign at the north end of the improvements at Lincoln Way will help with that ponding situation as well.
Thank you.
I have some questions.
This is Tim.
Mayor.
This is Tim.
Go ahead, David. Oh, David. Go ahead, Tim.
I believe
Tim,
we saw
go ahead.
something similar. I believe we saw something similar on a tour of Charlotte, where we have a very good urban tree program. John, would you anticipate that if this is successful on Welch, that we could do something similar in other parts of town? They stressed in Charlotte that this also had very good benefits for the vitality of the tree.
Yeah, that's correct. It certainly does. And we'll be viewing this as a pilot, so it could have applications in other projects as well.
Thank you.
Other questions, Tim?
That's it. Thanks.
All right, David? David?
Yes, thanks. On the bid that we last discussed on February 25th, was the project as configured at that time? Did it include these same tree trenches?
It did. I'm not sure of the quantity, but the base bid from the previous project included these tree trenches as standard bid items. So what this base bid did then was replace those with those tree grates, and then this add alternate adds 3 of those back in.
I see. Thank you. And then also, just to be clear, there are no planter boxes above the street level being planned at this stage. Is that right?
No, the term planter box was a little misleading. It's tree at grade tree grates. I can put that back up.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, so there around those trees there'll be from the sidewalk and then the street very slight concrete edging. Looks to be from the drawing 6 inches.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. So I missed this. It sounds like we're going to use some grates and some tree trenches.
Yes,
Is that
that's correct. That's correct.
Okay, and the previous configuration also had some of each, or was it just one type?
It was all tree trenches.
I see. Did you consider doing all tree trenches this time, or is this a cost saving maneuver?
Yeah, it was a balance with cost. They were put in what were felt to be the most critical locations, the most beneficial locations.
I see. Well, it makes me a little sad to lose what seems like the superior technology and possibly the superior impression that people might have, although I'm unclear about the impression that people would have on the street. But I understand why you did it now, so thank you. No more questions.
John, I have a question. That is, currently, there's a lot of problem with erosion and just ankle twisting cavities where those trees are at. How is this design going to help protect against that from happening?
Yeah,
Both designs, I guess.
Sure. I think that was the idea of the concrete curb edging around these at-grade tree planters, so that you wouldn't have the opportunity to directly walk over that because they would be protected by that concrete curbed edging. So you wouldn't have a direct flat line onto those grates. There'd be a distinct delineation, and then the so here's the tree trench cross section again. It's a little out of focus, but it will also have that edging, a little different style, but it'll also have a concrete edging around that tree area to delineate that area also.
Now, is there a grate up higher, or can people fall into that? How deep is that?
There is no grate, and it'll be filled with soil and plantings. So it's not much more than the 6
It looks like
right. It'd be
it looks.
hard to tell from that, but there'll be soil and plantings that will be around the tree. So you've got the curb height, which is 6 inches, and then the depth of the casting, it looks like, which is maybe another 6 inches. So there might be a foot.
How thick is that wall? Because graphically, that should be correct, right?
Yes,
That could be 2 or 3 feet deep. It looks like.
the walls are 6 inches.
That could be 2 or 3 feet deep,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I'm just going off the typical depth of the curb is 6 inches on top of that casting that you'd see on the right. And because it's cross section, it's not a 1-for-1 vertical to horizontal. So it would look a little more exaggerated vertically.
Okay. Well, given the fact that this is in a bar area, any concerns with safety or liability for the city with this kind of a design?
We haven't identified any with our consultant, but if we do, we could run this design by the risk manager. And if we do, we could see what could be added to enhance the safety at these spots.
I agree with Tim that it's a nice design concept, but just given the fact that you may have some students or any patron that may potentially fall into that, we want to get someone get hurt.
Sure. Yeah, we can visit about what we can do to assure and enhance that safety.
Unless staff is
Mayor-
concerned about it or doesn't.
Mayor, I would
Gloria,
have
go ahead.
similar concerns. Yeah, I'd have similar concerns, although I would add, I can't really tell where that 6-inch curb is in relation to the street. Is this presenting any kind of tripping hazard in the sidewalk?
No, 6-inch curb we don't view as a tripping hazard. That's vertically enough to provide delineation, whether through an assisted, visually sightseeing assisted device such as a cane, or whether through just visual recognition. Also, then there's a strip between these tree trench boxes and the back of curb that appears to be about 2 feet wide, so it won't be up against the back of the street curb.
Has Campustown Action Association reviewed this, and are they supportive of them?
They have reviewed it. I don't know if they've had any specific conversation about this particular feature, but they have reviewed
Okay.
the plans with staff.
And they understand what the features are.
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions for John? All right, I'm going to declare the public hearing on Campustown public improvements on Welch Avenue to be open. And have you received anything in writing from anybody yet?
We're checking 1 second.
Okay,
Nope, no calls, I don't believe.
let's wait like 30 seconds and then we'll close the hearing. Nothing yet?
Nope.
Anything, Steve, on that?
Nothing for this item.
Item 24. Okay.
Item 24, we have.
Declare the public hearing. Declare the public hearing on Campustown public improvements on Welch Avenue to be closed. Any further questions or discussion, council, before we go into the motions? All right, entertain a motion on resolution authorizing the transfer of $600,000 from FY 1920 Concrete Pavement Improvement Program to the Campustown Public Improvements Program.
This is Bronwyn. So moved. Gloria.
Bronwyn moved. Gloria second. Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Fetcher,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Thank you. I entertain a motion on the resolution approving final plans and specifications and awarding contract to Construct Inc. of Ames, Iowa, in the amount of $2,081,067 for the base bid and $69,000 for alternate number 2.
Garten, so moved.
Second. Gloria.
All right, Bronwyn seconded. Garten moved. Bronwyn seconded. Thank you. Roll call.
Garten,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Fetcher,
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item 25, proposed text amendment relating to high screen landscaping. Any comments from staff?
No.
Any questions for staff?
Nope.
Okay, have we received anything in writing or any phone calls regarding this? Declare the public hearing on proposed zoning text amendment relating to high screen landscaping contained in section 29.4033F of municipal code to be open. We'll allow 30 seconds for any input on this. Are there any emails or phone calls?
No.
Declare the public hearing on this item to be closed. Entertain a motion on first passage of the ordinance.
Move on first, Gloria.
Second, Bronwyn.
Thank you. Roll call.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Speedy Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Thank you. All right, moving on to ordinances. Item 26, first reading of ordinance to change street name and speed limits for University Boulevard in the Bergeson annexation area. Is there any comments from staff on this item?
No. Mark, you got it?
Any questions for staff on this item? All right, I will open public input. Allow 30 seconds on this particular item as it's the first reading of the ordinance. Allow 30 seconds. Are there any public comments that have been received?
No.
All right. Close public input. Entertain motion on first reading.
This is Bronwyn. I would
Move.
move on first.
Second, Gloria.
Thank you. Roll call.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Speedy Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Thank you. Entertain motion on second reading of ordinance increasing water rates by 2% and sewer rates by 5% effective July 1, 2020.
Move on.
Move on second. Gloria,
Is that-
second.
Was that, Rachel, was you the one who moved?
No, Amber.
No.
Who moved? Amber did. Thank you.
Amber.
Amber and Gloria. Amber. Thank you. Roll call.
Martin,
Aye.
Speedy Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item 28, staff report on city council and board commission meetings under the COVID-19 emergency.
Well, we tried to lay out some issues that you might want to talk about. I don't think you have to go over all of them, but obviously in these unusual times, we have to decide how we're going to handle city council meetings and board and commission meetings. Some, if you want to keep business moving, like planning and zoning, ZBA, you want to continue those probably. Others you might want to ask to be postponed. And by the way, we're not saying this is endless. We're talking about maybe May 15th as we're talking about. And how you want to handle city council meetings. We've jury rig something today. I think we're going to be exploring the Zoom product and try to perfect this a little better for our what will be our April 14th meeting. I can't believe it's April 14th meeting. But is there any direction you want to give us in regards to this city council meetings? I'm even though we can perfect the Zoom technique, I'm wondering if you want us to make sure we try to postpone any issues that may draw a large crowd of interested people or be controversial, other than I'm not sure how effective it will be to get the input over the internet. And some people won't be able to use the internet. Of course, we'll try to develop something that allows for call-in too, but we could try to defer or postpone as many on the larger issues as possible, or we can try to deal with all of them. Some of the issues we have to deal with are the workshops. A big issue for all of us is the Plan 2040. Do you want us to continue to try to do that, even if we do it remotely with our consultants and the city staff and the public listening in remotely, or do you want us to try to hold off those as long as possible? Again, this situation may correct itself in May, maybe not. So we're just trying to get some direction from you. A lot of people are asking. We do have a ZBA meeting tomorrow night. We're going to try to handle, and actually we're going to allow people in, I believe, for this particular one, because we had sent notices before we closed down City Hall and told people they could attend, although we're going to limit the attendance in the room itself. But any direction you want to give us would be very helpful. Or those or other issues that I've outlined in the staff report. You see the distinction between
Break this down.
public required hearings and just the normal input on items, which is not required. But you have historically wanted to include that in your, and I think rightfully so, in your deliberations at public input, even if there was not a public hearing required. We've also given you Mark's analysis of the legal background on this, and Mark's here to speak to that too, what's required and not required. So any
All right,
thoughts?
let's take this let's take this one at a time. So regarding boards and commission meetings, one of the questions is, do we want to cancel any, all, or none regarding the boards and commissions? And if so, which ones?
This is Gloria. Do we have any concerns about any of our board or commission members being able to join a meeting telephonically or via a Zoom meeting or some other electronic means? Because I'm inclined to say I don't think we should be canceling the boards and commissions, but if there are commission members that have accessibility issues, then that may need to be revisited, or some alternative method for them to connect may need to be supplied.
We haven't gotten that kind of feedback. Most feedback we've gotten is people on commissions concerned about coming in, so I think they'd rather do it remotely. They're concerned about that. We could check with all the.
It might be good.
Yeah.
It might be good, Steve, to survey the board and commission members, just asking them about their phone accessibility or their electronic meeting accessibility. I was surprised when I surveyed my students that some were not able to connect in ways that I thought they should be able to. And since we have tried to broaden our membership and be more inclusive in who is being appointed to the boards and commissions, we may now have some members who do face connectivity challenges.
Yeah, that'd be good. We could certainly do that. And we could also maybe check with the board chair people and see if they want to give you a recommendation whether to continue the meetings or not, or we haven't got any input from them actually.
Any other feedback for Steve on this topic on the boards and commissions?
Mayor, I have a comment. David.
Yes, please. Yes, David.
First, I want to apologize for chuckling earlier when Gloria was talking about this. I saw that see, now you can see a photo of us speaking while we're actually talking, and that's why I was chuckling at. I hadn't seen that before. But more to the point, I think that a lot of Gloria's concerns could be resolved simply by delegating this question to the chairs of the boards and commissions. I think that we can handle this in a distributed way. They can consult with their boards and decide whether to cancel their meetings because of whatever the difficult circumstances are. I guess if it's a board like ZBA or planning and zoning that would actually interfere with some sensitive schedules, then I think we'd want some sort of heightened scrutiny on those sort of cancellations. But under the circumstances, we still might want to approve them. So that would be my suggestion. Ask the chairs of the boards and commissions to see if they can continue regularly, but give them the ability to express that they're not going to be able to.
Yeah, we could certainly do that.
I agree
Thank
with
you.
that idea of distribution, David.
Good, and I think also we could, to be clear, we can make available a video conferencing platform. I think the staff is working on something that would be made available to those groups too to attempt to solve the problem.
Yeah, I think we're recommending strongly that you close down these meetings for people in person in the meeting. So whatever you're going to do with the council meetings in terms of remote access, I think we want to apply that same technique to the boards and commissions if they have the meeting.
Yeah, sounds good.
Is everyone? We're gonna proceed on the basis that everyone agrees that boards and commission meetings should continue as discussed, unless I hear anything to the contrary.
Okay.
All right, moving on to city council meetings. Is everyone in agreement that we will continue those on our regular schedule, but for workshops?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
why not workshops, just like the learning part of them? I mean, that could be electronic too, couldn't it? Or no?
Well, to give you an example, we have an important meeting coming up with the arts community, and we could certainly do that remotely, but I'm not sure there's a timeliness factor. I mean, if we slide that a month or two, and I think there's a quality presentation that can be done better face to face if you can put it off.
Maybe. I mean, you're right about that particular one. I didn't necessarily mean all of them, but I feel like there's some where nobody but us shows up anyway, or we've had workshops like that. And if it's going to be something where we're just learning about a topic that we've wanted to learn about for a while, I mean, I don't mind. But if nobody else cares, that's fine. We could delay all those too.
Well, right now,
Gloria? Oh, sorry, this is Gloria. I agree with you. I don't see a good reason to cancel all of the workshops, and it occurs to me that the 2040 plan workshops have not been heavily attended, and we may actually get more people tuning in if they think they can sit at home and watch. I know they can now, but they may be more enthusiastic about sitting home and watching when they have little else to do when they're at home. So I would be in favor of continuing those workshops that are not necessarily going to benefit from that face-to-face discussion, like the arts workshop probably would.
it's my understanding that the workshop for the 31st of the month has been canceled. Is that correct, Steve?
Yeah, we need to make a decision on that. So
That's the Ames.
we put that off. I mean,
You did, or
we think
Yeah.
we canceled that with the consultants. They're kind of concerned too. A lot of their companies don't want them to do anything except for remotely too. So we weren't sure we had a remote set up yet, or you're willing to do remotely yet. So we just canceled that one. But we can schedule ones afterwards.
so the next one
I don't-
would be on the 21st of April.
That's been canceled as
With
well.
those guys,
Well, I'll have to give you another schedule on that, okay? Kelly's gone. I'll get you a better schedule on that. If you want to
I did-
continue with workshops on the 2040, we know that now, and we'll try to schedule those in.
Okay, well, I'm going to, this is David, I'm going to argue against proceeding with the Ames Plan 2040 workshops because I think that, we all want to get that done. There's not a particular date time pressure. And I think that our communication is better in a room than it is over the best video platform. So given the lack of time pressure for those meetings, which tend to be more collaborative than meetings where we're doing a series of resolutions and hearings and such, I think we should wait. The next workshop that we actually have on our calendar with a topic assigned is May 19th. That's out of ways now, and that's the Ames Plan 2040. Perhaps we could revisit that later, but I would say, given that our current closures are through May 15th, is that right?
The next,
Pardon me?
the next council meeting?
The current closures are through May 15th?
The one the city has, we've advertised as May 15th.
So during their current closure period, I guess it's a moot point. I would say that if we got beyond that closure period and we're still being afflicted, then I would probably want to postpone further at that time.
That's fine. I mean,
Others?
yeah, if anybody has questions, I don't mind. Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, fine with me too.
All right.
So,
All right. So we're going to post, go ahead, Tim.
Well, I don't know. I think these are important matters that we keep moving forward, and we're going to deliberate on all kinds of things that are just as important as the 2040 plan. I think it's important we keep the ball moving on that.
So what are you in support of, Tim?
Well, if we believe that we can deliberate properly in the best interest of the city electronically over a video format, then it seems like we can continue to work with these workshops as well. There's going to be a lot of things that we'll have to push off the schedule because of COVID-19, but to the degree we can maintain some normalcy and keep projects moving, I think we should try and do that.
Amber, what do you think?
I guess I understand David's concern. If we're, on a pure conference call, it's very difficult to deliberate. If that can improve via video conference call, then I think that we should try to continue to move forward.
Okay. Rachel?
I would be okay either way. I think we would do best collaboratively in person, but it is important to keep the ball rolling on this, and I would be okay doing the workshops electronically.
So just to move this workshop topic down the road, Steve, would it be possible for you or would you just chat with Kelly and the consultant and see if, one, they're available on the 19th of April, if we decide to do it, and is it practical to do it? I don't know what's up on that at that next workshop. And then we'll have our council meeting on the 12th, which would be video, I believe.
Right.
And at that point in time, we could evaluate whether or not we think it's practical to have our workshop the following week
sure.
using the video conference. Does that seem reasonable?
Yes.
Or does that seem too uncertain?
No, that's fine. And maybe we can lay out, if I know you want to keep going, then we'll make sure we lay out the rest of the scheduling now. We slide it back because we missed the 31st.
Is that acceptable to the council, that proposal?
Yes.
Yes,
John, yes, I think that's a good idea. That's a good idea, and we will have more experience with the video platform as a council at that date, so that's helpful. I would point out also that the May 19th date is not just the Ames Plan 2040, but also the Trip South land use discussion with the neighbors.
Oh, wow.
Which which is kind of a different topic and is likely to have a different vibe than Ames Plan 2040. So we might want to
And lots of participation. Yeah.
Right, and with people who haven't been using video platforms for their meetings every week, perhaps. So we might want to separate those.
Okay. All right.
So you want me to check. So you're really not saying to commit the 19th. We want to see if they're available the 19th. You'll make your decision on the 12th. Doesn't give much time, but the 12th, you'll tell us whether we're going to have it or not.
Correct. Right. And also asking Kelly if it seems practical and reasonable to do it all electronically as well.
Well,
it would seem to be that way because we're always getting.
I'm sure the council, is it practical? It can be done. You have to tell us what you think is effective or appropriate level of communication on this issue.
Okay. All right. Well, if it becomes a moot point if RDG is not available that night anyway.
Right. That's a different issue, right?
Right. Well, why don't you check into that and then get back to council on that?
Okay. So
okay, then
let me clarify then. Wait, let me clarify. So we did put off the arts one, which I think is a good decision. Now, what are you saying about the Trip Street people? If that's, what did we say that was for? May what? May 19th. So let's say we're
workshop
still,
in May.
Yeah, let's say we're still in a lockdown. Do you want to have that remotely?
I think that one needs to be a face-to-face, Steve. I would want to make sure that anybody who wanted to participate could be there interacting with us.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of those people that we have seen who may fall into the vulnerable category for COVID-19. So it may be that we need to push that off.
Yeah. Does everybody agree? I just want
We
to.
can still do the 8.
Pardon me?
Go ahead.
You want to just hold up and not cancel now? Just wait to see what happens next month? We still have April.
Well, I think what I'm hearing is we have on April 19th, subject to successful video interaction on the 12th with our normal council meeting, we would do the Ames 2040 plan by itself. Then in May, it's already scheduled to be also an Ames 2040 plan in concert with Trip Street. What if we go ahead and just have that also be the Ames 2040 plan and just postpone the Trip Street conversation until we can have a face-to-face interaction dialogue with the residents in a workshop setting?
It's May.
Does that make sense?
What is April?
This is David. I think that's a good idea.
I agree. This is Gloria.
April 19th is a workshop day.
That just keeps the Ames 2040 plan going, and then we're also going to make sure that those who are potentially have underlying health concerns or issues and or may not have the technology platform in the Trip Street or in our CCA MOS, we'll do that face to face, and that might be in special meeting end of May, or may not be till June, or may not be till July, depending upon where we land on this COVID-19 situation.
Now, just so you know, I'm not saying that this. Just you realize a lot of our work shifts. Then remember, we wanted to make a decision so we can move ahead and get housing built, but the world's slowing down anyway. Just so you know, this puts us back, and I just want you to know what that means.
One point, we oftentimes find ourselves having to stay in lockstep with the schedule that Vanessa has because of the nature of this funding. Steve, would be helpful if you just touch base with Vanessa, make sure that any changes on the schedule don't interfere with her schedule.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, if you refer this back to us now that I want to accomplish, we'll come up with something, okay? You don't have to do it now.
Okay.
I have a
All right.
sense. You're going to get, I mean, we're all going to get frustrated because there's a lot of stuff we want to do that's going to get slid back as the world is not in normal times right now. And that's going to put us behind a lot of projects that you want goal-wise. I mean, there are a lot of consultants that won't even travel to other areas and do work with us that's required anymore, by their own firm's policy. And not all of it can be done remotely. Sometimes the consultant has to come out here and meet with us. So some of your projects are going to be slid back, which I hope you understand. We've got to first get this stabilized here as far as the COVID virus. But try to move as fast. I understand we're going to keep moving as much as possible. I understand that.
I think that we're just going to defer to you and Kelly, Steve, on this one. And if you report back in a week and just say there's no way you can do a April 19th Ames 2040 plan, then we just don't have a workshop that time. Unless there's a learning opportunity that we've tried to look at before, we can slip in.
Right. I know you're willing to put off the Arch one. Now we just have to worry about the Ames 2040 and the South Trip group. How do we start scheduling those in, right? So let me work with Kelly on that and get back with you if that's all right. I know what you want.
Yep. Okay. The other question is anything else on the workshops other than to go into public comment?
No. Oh.
So one of the questions that was posed is, we want to cancel public forum or minimize the, public hearings. And Jan Flora, asked that we continue to not only meet but also allow a public forum. Council, what's your preference on that? My inclination is to try and keep things going that they went tonight and try and allow public forum as well as the public hearings.
Yeah, same here. I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Agree.
As well.
I agree.
Okay. So we'll keep public forum on the agenda and obviously the required public hearings as well.
Okay, that's great. Now, just to clarify again, I don't think legally we have to close these meetings physically. Is that right, Mark? If we could keep it down to a lower number. Well, actually, the government hearings aren't even required to do that, are they?
Well, it's not clear whether the governor's order applies to government bodies or not, but I think the safe thing is to assume that it does.
Which would mean what?
Which would mean limiting to 10 or fewer people.
So we can certainly do that, but I'm recommending that we don't allow public and we handle everything remotely. I'm assuming you didn't vote on this. So I'm sure you agree with that, right? Council agrees with that, right?
Yes.
For boards and commissions?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Just want to make it clear. There may be people want to say, I want to make my case before the council and I can do it better. But you're supporting us in closing it down. As long as we have a viable remote option, which we think we'll be able to get you. Right?
Council, I'm going to assume that you agree with that unless you say no. The public will not be allowed to come in physically, but they certainly will be allowed to participate electronically in offering public input.
Correct. Okay, I don't hear no.
That is a yes.
All right. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions, Mark or Steve, on the operating of the meetings on either boards, commissions, or council?
No, do you have any direction for us? I think whatever tool we pick, and we're gonna experiment with a larger number of city staff as guinea pigs on Zoom. We want to make sure that not everybody has the tool we use can only be geared to people who have internet. So we want to make sure there's a call-in option. I'm assuming everybody has a phone, has access to a cell phone or a landline they could call in. So we want to make sure that happens, even if we're not going to allow physical, interaction with the council. So we're going to work on that. Zoom appears to have that, but we're going to try to test it out. to eliminate any flaws
Okay.
for the next meeting for you.
Okay. Anything else under this item, council, that you want to talk about? Item 28?
We didn't, Mayor, it's David, we didn't address the question of thorny topics, did we? Of complicated topics? For what it's worth, I think that it would be best to, or did we, right? I think it would be best to avoid them. And if you and the city manager can handle that, then I think that would be wise.
Council,
Once again, council, if that's acceptable to you, that just gets delegated to Steve and the mayor to go ahead and work through those. And if we think there's something that's going to be very complicated, convoluted, or excess participation, we'll just try and postpone that. Okay? Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
All right. Last item from our amended agenda is a resolution approving temporary revisions to employee leave policy due to COVID-19. Steve?
I think I'll have Bethany go over that if I
And
could.
Bethany?
Our personnel director put this together, and I think she'll go very quickly over it. I don't think we want to go through all the details of it, but why we have it and what the state legislator got us into and what we're doing in response. Excuse me, the Federal Congress Act. Congratulations.
The federal government. So last week, Congress approved a measure that would expand employees' access to paid leave due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It also expands the Family Medical Leave Act, so FMLA. That is specifically for families who need to care for children whose schools or daycares have been closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So the federal law is called the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. It's FFCRA. It provides some pretty detailed provisions and requirements for employers to provide some paid leave to employees. It's generally about 2 weeks, 80 hours is what is specified in the law. And so what we've done is we've taken the requirements from the law, both on the extended family sick leave provision and on the extended Family Medical Leave Act portion of this. And we've created a policy that meets or exceeds the requirements of the FFCRA. And this would be a temporary amendment to the city's own leave policies. And what this would do is it would allow this extra leave for a finite period of time. The federal law does expire on December 31st. And so that's what we are writing this amended leave to be, to go through December 31st of 2020. Unless something changes and the law changes, then we would request to change the leave as well. But in essence, what this would be is providing up to 80 hours of COVID-19 leave. That's what we've written into our policy for employees who have been either required or advised to quarantine by a medical provider or a state, county, or federal agency, or who has been advised that by a medical provider that they have confirmed or presumptively confirmed COVID-19. We have a request form that we would ask employees to fill out where they would tell us who provided this advice to them. And again, that would be a bank of up to 80 hours. This is it's a one-time offer of 80 hours that can be used in a variety of different circumstances. For an employee's own quarantine or illness is one of them. Another circumstance where an employee could use this is if they're caring for an individual who is either quarantined or sick with COVID-19. The same circumstances apply here. So the person that they are caring for would need to have been advised by either a county, state, federal agency, or a medical provider that they need to be quarantined, or advised that they are ill with COVID-19. Then the third scenario is for employees who are impacted by school closures or daycare closures. So this is a little bit different. the federal law stipulates that employees could be gone for up to 12 weeks to care for children whose schools or daycares have been closed. The provision for pay is that the first 2 weeks would be unpaid leave, and then the remaining weeks would be paid at 2/3 of the employee's regular rate of pay. What we've said here is the first 2 weeks could be a reason to use that 80 hours of COVID-19 pay. And so we would make that as an option. So an employee could have the potential to receive their full paycheck for those first 2 weeks. And then for any remaining hours that they would need to be home, they would receive pay at 2/3 of their regular rate, but they could supplement that with sick leave, vacation leave, or comp time, or any sort of paid leave that they have. And so that's, in a nutshell, that is what we're offering, or what we'd like to offer to employees. And so certainly it's a lot of information to take in. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to explain what I can.
This is Tim. Have we had any feedback from employees or union representatives on this?
We wanted to go through this step first to have, we have had some conversation with our leadership groups, but we haven't yet discussed with union groups.
No, we're gonna have to notify the union groups and see what they do. I mean, technically, I don't know what will happen with all the cities. As far as getting input, this isn't something we're kind of, this is during a crisis, you sometimes need to give answers to people, and people wanted a policy, and we've waited on the policy long enough. We waited until the federal government came through. In fact, we were going to have tighter language on some other issues, and luckily we didn't distribute that because the law now has changed, or has given us some guidance on that. So what we're going to give people is answers, what our policy is going to be, security, how we're moving forward. And we're not really sitting down and negotiating with unions about this either. We'll see what they say about it. We're actually giving something better than's required. So we'll be interested if they say, no, you can't give us that unless you give us twice as much more or whatever. I don't know what will happen on that, but we're trying to get answers out to our employees as soon as possible.
Steve, is it embedded?
Pardon me?
Steve, is it, and Bethany, is this fair to say that all of this is done to comply with federal law, and we actually exceed the federal requirements in some situations? Is that correct?
Yeah, we try to be a little bit more generous than the federal law requires. And there aren't very many cities. We're looking around what other cities are doing. Not a lot of people are doing. I'm not even sure Iowa State's come out with their program yet, and they have over 20,000 employees. We've been asking for that. I haven't heard about that. And there's a lot of other cities that just haven't gotten back with us on what they're doing. So we may be ahead of the curve, or everybody's keeping quiet about it. So I can't tell you what the norm is or what the best practice is right now. So I think it's been presented by Bethany, and I think she's trying to be fair. We first have to meet the letter of the code of the state law, the federal law, and where possible, try and do just a little bit better.
And we have to have this has to be adopted by a week from Thursday by law, right?
Yes, by April 2nd.
That's a good point, but I want you to actually approve this effective. I want to get ahead of it. So you're doing better than the federal law. I want it to be effective on last Monday, because that's when a lot of people.
Right.
This month. Today is this?
It's Tuesday.
Excuse me, it's only Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yesterday already.
Yeah.
That seems like a long time. Yesterday, because I want people to take advantage of this, because schools closed here and they might have had costs incurred or they had to stay home, or costs incurred for childcare. Yesterday was the problem area. So I want to actually implement it prior to and when we have to, and incur some liability before that, in fairness to our employees.
Other questions or comments from council?
Tim, have we had Dwayne and his team review this for the fiscal impact on our budget? Maybe it's too early to know that, but either now or sometime as soon as possible, I'd like would like to make sure we understand the fiscal implications of this.
Sure.
This is Gloria. Bethany and Steve, I don't know which of you would want to answer this question, but I see that in the request for leave, we have these two sections that require certification of the illness, so the need to stay home and quarantined. And I'm a little bit confused by the providing the name of the medical provider or agency advising or requiring the absence when we're all getting federal advice to stay home if you feel ill. And in some cases, some communities are recommending that people not go to their doctors unless they feel that they really have COVID-19 and not just some other minor illness. So I'm not sure what level of certification we're really asking for here.
So we wrote this in here because we're asking the employee to certify this. So it's a self-certification form. And what we're asking is that if an employee is sick, if they think that they have COVID-19, we want them to be calling their medical provider. And so we have a number of different ways for employees to reach out to a medical provider. They can call First Nurse here in town. We have a doctor on demand service with our health insurance. There are just a variety of ways for employees to reach out to a medical provider. And if that medical provider advises them that, yeah, your symptoms sound like it could be this, we advise you to stay home. That's all we're asking for here, is that the employees had some contact with a medical provider, or if they meet the criteria for self-isolation or something like that, according to the CDC or Iowa Department of Public Health, they would just note that there for us. So that's what we're asking for, is just some level of certification that they have at least attempted to reach out to a medical provider and they are getting some good advice from a medical provider or some agency.
So I don't see that in any of the information that was provided to us. How are employees going to get that particular information about how to receive their certification or how they should self-certify?
So we've been sending out communication to employees, and we have it posted in a variety of places that employees can see about who to contact if you think that you're ill, the different resources. Our health insurance provider has been reaching out with similar information. So we're telling employees from a lot of different places what to do if you feel like you're sick. What are your resources? You know exactly what's expected of them. And so get a form that doesn't have enough information or doesn't have any information, we'll reach out to them to ask for a little bit more information and ask have reached out to a provider and using one of those formats.
And do they get this? So is there a reason that we wouldn't want to specify how they self-certify in this actual written policy?
I know what you're saying. Maybe the cover letter tomorrow, we don't want to send anything out until you approve it. Tomorrow, Bethany will send an email out to all employees and maybe you can put that in their her cover memo with it.
Sure.
Well, I just am concerned that somebody could miss something that isn't actually part of the policy. And then when they go to the policy thinking, oh, I need this now, they aren't going to be able to find the information on what they need to do to meet that certification requirement.
Yeah, Bethany could clarify that in her email to them.
Sure.
Other comments? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion on this topic.
So moved.
Alternative number one.
Gloria.
Tim, is that alternative number one, you approve the proposed COVID-19 leave policy as attached?
Yes.
Okay.
Second,
And
Gloria.
Gloria, is that your second? Okay,
Yes.
discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Edie Hanson,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Bethany, Steve. All right, moving on to disposition of communications to council. We have one item. And that
From-
is
From Mr. Stumbo.
request to amend the urban fringe plan for 2 parcels of land.
I would suggest you request a memo first on that, please.
Is there a motion on that? Or no interest?
I
Will
think you
we
should,
direct staff-
Hearing no motion.
Wait.
Memo?
why don't you,
Moved by Garten,
I'll
get a memo.
why don't you let us do a memo for
Second,
you?
Betcher.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to council comments. Gloria, we'll start with you tonight.
I can honestly say that I have never had so much technology open in front of me at one time for participating in a meeting. I'm watching the meeting on YouTube, I'm participating via my cell phone, and I have my council packet open on my iPad. So I think that as far as my end is concerned, technology is working. But it's rather entertaining watching the speaker phone featured on our YouTube video. I want to thank city staff for all of the work that they have put in so far and that they will be putting in on our COVID-19 response plan. And I'm very proud of everything that has been done to this point and am confident that we will continue doing things to the best of our ability going forward. That's it.
Tim?
I certainly echo Gloria's comments. My comments are directed really towards the city. Our residents need to heed, Mayor, your pleas to be calm, to not make purchases out of fear, and to look for opportunities to serve. Our community is going to get through this, and I'm confident that there will be many opportunities to serve before this is over. But I appreciate the leadership, Mayor, on this, and really urge people to maintain a state of calm as we go through this.
Thank you. Rachel?
Nothing tonight. Thanks.
Amber?
I'll just echo Gloria and Tim's thanks to city staff. Also want to thank all of our partners who have been working with us to communicate with the public and communicate information in an ever-changing world. And then just a quick note of thanks to, we have a lot of people thanking our first responders, our law enforcement, and rightly so, but we also have a number of people who are also considered essential workers who are not often recognized, and those are our caregivers, the people who are caring for the elderly in our nursing homes and in our group homes for people with disabilities, and our mental health social workers, and everybody else on the front line of those vulnerable populations. So just a special thank you to that group of people.
Thank you.
on by just acknowledging that there are a lot of people working behind the scenes to try to manage this crisis that we don't hear from at all. And they're instrumental in making sure that we know what's happening and that we're able to respond as circumstances would allow when we need to. So I'm really grateful for all that quiet work behind the scenes. I'd also like to follow up on one of the items from earlier tonight. This is the Metronet site plan that we approved. And we did get an email from the owner of the property, Corey Hoyce, with some concerns about their ability to proceed with the project given the parking easement. And although she didn't call in during the public forum, I think given the circumstances of this meeting, I would like to move to ask staff to reach out to Corey to see if she is still interested in having the parking easement topic be on a city council agenda, and if so, to put it on an agenda.
I would second that. This is Brown.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
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 That's all.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you, David. Brown?
Well, boy, yeah, just same echoing gratitude for everyone who's really working to keep things together right now. City staff, other partners, everybody. I've been thinking a lot about food. That's just as in my job and our food networks. And so I'm not going to do anything tonight, but I did mention to Steve that I just with everything, I'm thinking about our community garden and how we might think about maybe allowing for more land to be dedicated to that this year. And no action yet. It's just, I just wanted to introduce that concept. And people can email me their thoughts if they want, or I can email about it too individually. But yeah, I think just resiliency as a community is really, I think Ames is resilient, and I think we will be strong in this, but just how we can build upon that to make ourselves even more resilient. So that's all I've got tonight.
Thank you. Devin?
Nothing for me other than I've just enjoyed listening.
What's that? Devin?
My apologies. Yeah, can you hear me? Hello? You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I was just saying I've enjoyed this what's been talked about tonight. That's it. Nothing for me.
Okay. Well, I'd like to just take a few minutes and say a few things. First of all, Steve, we owe you a debt of gratitude. You have done a yeoman's job. People will never understand how much work he's put in. Everything from this employee leave policy to all the planning to leading the team there. And I just want to thank you on behalf of council. I know it's going to continue, but it's been a lot of work, and we really appreciate it. And I know your team there has put a lot of time in.
Yeah, thank you. Got to give a lot of credit to.
Thank you.
You got to give a lot of credit to Deb and.
What's that?
You got to give more credit to Deb and Brian and the executive leadership team. They're the ones who are doing all the work. I can assure you that, not me. I just worry they do the work.
It takes a good leader, though. And anyway, I thank your entire team on that, and Bethany for your work on coming up with this policy. You learned about it on Friday. I think you were preparing for it, but having to deal with it and get it out here to council, really appreciate that. And also Diane for your efforts on getting this meeting put together and working on technology. Greatly appreciate that. And I think it's already been said, but there's so many partners in this community that have come together to work together, and that includes United Way, thank you to all of their staff and the efforts they're doing to try and, organize and meet needs. And then the medical, Iowa State, great partnership with the county, Story County Emergency Management, Public Health, and to follow up on what Amber said, we take for granted, I take for granted at times, people that work in the grocery stores. But you probably have noticed that Hy-Vee is now advertising on TV and talking with a clerk at Fairway on Saturday morning. They're having people are just not coming into work anymore. They're quitting. We just need to thank them. Those that are working there, thank them for their efforts because they allow us to get food and they get us the supplies. And those that may be looking for jobs, I think that they're hiring and they could use some help as well too. The other thing is just the fact that our community is strong and is resilient, and we just need to continue to be working. Check in on your neighbors, offer to do child care. I just continue to encourage people to be patient. It's going to be trying in times as we go forward. We're just starting to see, the virus ramp up a little bit in Iowa. We'll see what's going to happen. But also remember our food pantries. They need household supplies, food for the people. And then encouragement on social media. I think that Governor Reynolds did a good job, as I tried to do on the weekend in the Tribune piece, just saying that social media can really be a powerful force. Be thinking and speaking the best of people, and let's look for ways to share positive news and initiatives, that are going on in our community. The other thing is, I know that we've been getting emails from people asking about, shelter in home. And the governor has been very clear that strongly encouraging, as are other medical experts, social distancing. And she has stressed, and we fully support that, is if you can stay at home as much as you possibly can. We understand you have to go out and get groceries. There's errands that may have to be run. You can work from home. Please work from home. But people need to take this seriously. And I think that short term, by doing that, and I know that a lot of people are doing that. We know people have to work. But that's the opportunity we have to try and minimize the social spread, and that's just so important. And as it stands right now, the city will continue to follow the governor's lead, and it's an incredibly complex consideration to even think about any kind of a shelter in place. We don't have access to the data and all the information that the governor has available. And I was trying to find, and I will continue to try and find a link to the press conference. I would strongly encourage people to try and find that was on today. The director of public health did an amazing job of laying out what they are doing and all the factors that go into that decision-making process. And there's no way that anybody locally can have all that information they're going into. And I am confident that the governor and the people at the State House have no interest in seeing this virus spread any further or any faster than we do. And I believe it's a time that we got to come around and just follow her lead at this point in time. And then certainly we're in concert. I mean, I know that in talking with staff, they are in frequent contact with our partners here locally. And if something changes, then that would have to be evaluated. But at this point in time, we're going to continue to follow the lead of the governor. And I think she is doing a good job of leading and assessing and communicating. And we're going to continue to try and do the same thing as well. So again, my encouragement is to, while it's challenging and difficult times, be positive, seek to meet needs of people around you. And a little plug for our businesses. Boy, they're going to really need our support now as well as going forward in the future. And do whatever you can to support all of the businesses in Ames. And that includes hospitality industry in the future as well. So, and I agree with the comments made previously. We will get through this. It's going to be a challenging situation. We have great people. We got great teams put in place. And if we just be one-minded and working hard and remain positive, I believe that we're going to come out on the backside stronger. And I will say this, in my neighborhood, looking outside, I think I've seen more families walking around, walking their dog, kids riding, bikes. Yes, they're keeping their distance from other people, but I hope that this is a great way for families to be strengthened as well too. It's going to be can be trying, but also look at it as an opportunity. So, with that said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
Move to adjourn, Gloria.
Gloria, very good. Meeting is adjourned for this evening. Thank you.